சிற்றம்பலம். ஆடும் பரிவேல் அணி சேவல் என பாடும் பணியே பணியாய் அருள்வாய் தேடும் கயமா முகனை செருவில் சாடும் தனியானை சகோதரன். திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். உலகலாம் உணர்ந்து ஓதற்கரியவன் நீல உலாவிய நீர்மலி வேணியன் அலகில் சோதியன் அம்பலத்தாடுவான் மலர் சிலம்படி வாழ்த்தி வணங்குவான். திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். நேசம் நிறைந்த உள்ளத்தால் நீளம் நிறைந்த மணிகண்டத்து ஈசனடியார் பெருமையினை எல்லா உயிரும் தொழை எடுத்து தேசம் உய்ய திருத்தொண்ட தொகை முன் பணித்த திருவாளர் வாசமலர் மென்கடல் வணங்க வந்த பிறப்பை வணங்குவான். திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி, எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி, ஏகம்பத்துறை எந்தாய் போற்றி, பாகம் பண்ணொரு ஆனாய் போற்றி, பராய்த்துறை மேவிய பரனே போற்றி, சிராப்பள்ளி மேவிய சிவனே போற்றி, அண்ணாமலையம் அண்ணா போற்றி, கண்ணாரமுத கடலே போற்றி, காவாய் கனகத்திரளே போற்றி, கைலை மலையானே போற்றி போற்றி. வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு அரோகரா. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். அண்ட சராசரங்களுக்கெல்லாம் அதிபதியாக விளங்கக்கூடிய முருகப்பெருமானுடைய ஒப்பற்ற பெரும் கருணையினாலே ஞானத்திரள் சார்பாக நாம் தொடர்ந்து ஆங்கிலத்திலே பெரிய புராணத்தின் நாயன்மார்களுடைய வரலாற்றை தொடர்ந்து சிந்திக்கின்ற பாங்கில இன்றைய தினம் குங்கிலிய கலைய நாயனார் என்ற நாயன்மார் பற்றி சிந்திப்பதற்கு திருவருள் கூட்டியிருக்கிறார். We have been discussing since this time about Nayanmar who have sacrificed their life for the service of Lord Shiva. The devotees are of two types. One type of devotees will be doing service directly to Lord Shiva. Performing puja will also be included in that, and they will be doing a lot of service for the temples. They will maintain gardens, they will pluck flowers, and they will put the garlands for Lord Shiva, and they will do all the services for the temples. That is one type of devotees. Another type of devotees, they will render their services to the adiyars of Lord Shiva. They will do some service, some sort of service which adiyars will require. They will volunteer themselves to the adiyars, and they will come to know about their requirements, and they will volunteer themselves to execute the needs of the adiyars. So this is the second type of devotees in the Periya Puranam we are studying. Out of these two types of devotees, Kungiliya Nayanar belongs to the first category. He rendered services to the Lord Shiva in the shrine Tirukadavur. Tirukadavur is a very famous shrine that everybody knows. That was where Lord Shiva appeared for Markandeya to save him from Yama. Markandeya was destined to die at the age of 16. So Yama came for his life. But at the time, Markandeya was performing puja with full sincerity, losing himself. In Saivam, whenever you lose yourself, and if the soul completely immerses, plunges into the grace of Lord Shiva, and if it performs the puja, then it will be disconnected entirely from the worldly affairs. Tirumular used to say, Tungi Kandar Sivalogam Tamulle. What do you mean by Tungi Kandar? If you are asleep, then you will be disconnected from this world and you don't have any experience with this world. Even though you are having your own body, your soul is inside. The soul has been disconnected temporarily from the body, and in turn the body from the worldly affairs disconnected. So such a type of disconnections happen to everybody who undergoes sleep. But at the same time, the people, special people who have dedicated their thoughts, their desires, their life to the grace of Lord Shiva, they will be only thinking about Lord Shiva and they will get disconnected from the worldly affairs. What's going around them, they will not be aware of all those things. When somebody comes and scolds him, they will not care. If somebody comes and praises them, they will again don't care about that. Nandre seivai, pidai seivai. That's how Manivasagar also says. So such a type of devotees, they will be fully connected to the Lord Shiva's grace. Markandeya was also completely connected to Lord Shiva through the prayer. So there are other means also to get connected to Lord Shiva. People say yoga is one of the means, and people say jnana, people say puja. All these are sadhanas. That is, they are the means for getting in touch with of Lord Shiva. So Markandeya was performing in full swing the Shiva Puja, and he was, as a matter of fact, connected to Lord Shiva. Without knowing that, Yama came over there and tried to take away his soul to his world. So at that time, Lord Shiva appeared from the deity, from the Shivalingam itself, and kicked the Yama for having done this unfairly action. Then he took Markandeya to his world. He didn't change the order. Markandeya was destined to live 16 years in this world. That was the word given by Lord Shiva, and it was not crossed. It was adhered. But the only thing is, after 16th year, where will he go? Will he go to Yama Loha or will he go to Shiva Loha? That is to be decided. So, Yaman, he doesn't have the right to take the soul from a person who is performing in full swing the Shiva Puja. So, it is customary to say, whenever somebody is doing Shiva Puja, they are under the care of Lord Shiva. So, nobody can touch them, nobody can do any harm to them, nobody can even reach them. They cannot come nearby them. And that's how the Saiva Agama says. So one should lose himself. The soul should get locked to the Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva came to rescue for Markandeya, and he saved him from going to Yamaloka. So that in that way, Tirukadavur was very famous for this Shiva's the biggest deed. Lord Shiva did 8 deeds, and Atta Veeratam, they have been called as Atta Veerattana Talangal. So Tirukadavur is one of them. In Tirukadavur, it's a flourishing town full of paddy fields and plant and things and everything was very flourishing, and there amongst the people lived pious Brahmins, and they are also a well-to-do people. They will be doing very nice way of life. Even now in Tirukadavur, they lead very nice life, all the Shivacharyas. It is because of that flourishing Lord Shiva's grace, I should say. So this note has not been passed by me as an envious point. It's only a happiest thing that to be noted. So all the Shivacharyas performing puja for Lord Shiva is called Amritakateswarar. It's called Amritakateswarar. Even now, people who are performing their wedding day of 60th wedding day, 80th wedding day, they go to Tirukadavur and perform and submit to Lord Shiva for the longevity of their lives. And special pujas are also performed on this occasion. So, Tirukadavur is a very famous shrine, and there from this pious Brahmin family hailed a very nice Shiva devotee, Kalayanar. His name is Kalayanar, and his name is known as Periya Puranam as Kungiliya Nayanar. It is because he performed one duty for Lord Shiva. As I already told you that there are two types of devotees, and Kalayanar belongs to the first category, I told you. So Kalayanar is fond of doing one service to Lord Shiva. That service is that is, he will get the Kungiliyam. Kungiliyam means a granular material. When it is sprinkled on fire, the scented fumes will be spreading in the whole temple. So in that way, he was very much convinced and happy to do this, because in performing a puja, offering flowers and also offering Naivedyam, all those things are there as the parts of the puja. One of the way of doing the puja is lighting lamps and showing dhupam. Deepa dhupam, they are called Deepa dhupam. Dhupam is one of the parts of the puja that are being performed for Lord Shiva. So this part, Kalayanar is very fond of doing it. He would sprinkle the Kungiliyam, a special granular material. When sprinkled on fire, the fumes will come out, and those fumes will be scented fumes. It will be very pleasant for Lord Shiva. That was the opinion of the performance details of the puja. So in the picture you can now see he was holding a tower in which on the top of it the small coal fire will be there, and he will sprinkle the Kungiliyam to spread the fumes, the scented fumes. One thing we have to note down here is the most costliest material is Kungiliyam. Kungiliyam is very most costliest material. Even now, Kungilium is rarely available. Nowadays, the people call something as sambrani, and they will sprinkle on the fire, and they will get fumes. But Kungilium is a special material, often not frequently not available. So it is very costly. But Nayanar was able to get it because he was wealthy at that time. He was able to afford the puja, in the puja, the Kungilium offering. So every puja he will come over there and offer this Kungilium for Lord Shiva's puja. Everybody was very happy about it. But if you just see, if you just imagine, the people will take it easy when something is done regularly. If somebody goes to temple every day, people will say it's a customary act that he goes to temple. If a man lights a lamp every day in a temple, okay, he is having money, he can buy oil, he can buy thread, he can buy matchbox, so he can light a lamp every day going to the temple. What to wonder about it? People will think very lightly. But under special circumstances, when something hurdles are coming over, if that service is not discontinued and done without any break, then that is the real service, we call it. We call it only a service only if it is done without break. We cannot call everything as a service. Even some people may claim that feeding food for 2 or 3 people whenever they like, they cannot call it as a service. If they regularly feed the food for some poor people, if they regularly feed, even if they come across hurdles, if they come across difficulties, they don't abandon the duty and they go on feeding the poor men, then it is called the service. When something is favorable, if you are doing something, it cannot be claimed to be a service. If everything is unfavorable, but still if you are doing the service, then it is really a service you can claim. So what happened here is, the Kungilium was very costly material, I told you. Nayanar was able to afford, he was able to get it out of his income. But as days passed by, he was losing income, and his wealth were also coming down in size and other levels. But still, he managed to sell some assets, get money. His income also came very low, but still he didn't leave the duty of offering Kungilium for Shiva's puja in Tirukadavur temple. He continued the service. So it went to a state where he cannot raise any money. So he spent the money for food allotted for the family. So everybody started starving in the family. There were old people, there were children, and his wife. Everybody started starving because of no money is available. Nayanar was only worried, some or other we have to get money, we have to Kungilium, and we have to offer it to Lord Shiva. So he was keen on it. One day, there was nothing to take in, everybody was starving in the family, and Nayanar's worry was he didn't have any money and he was not aware of acquiring a Kungiliyam, how to get the Kungiliyam without money, and how am I going to do the service of offering Kungiliyam to Lord Shiva today? I do not know. What am I to do? He was thinking and he was spending the time. At that time, his wife came to him and told him, everybody is starving here. I am just wearing this Mangalyam, that is a small golden ornament ladies used to wear as a mark of their marriage. But she told him that I will wear a small coil, it's enough. You take this ornament, you take this Mangalyam to the market, sell it at a price, get the money and get some rice and commodities, groceries, so that we can cook and feed the starving children and old people. She told him. He immediately accepted. He was thinking about the Kungiliyam, but he accepted wife's instructions. He was going to the market under the idea of selling the jewel in the market. See, the very most intricacy in this matter is, the ladies will not part with their Mangalyam unless it is very much warranted. They will never do that. They will never take away their Mangalyam from their neck, because it was worn on the day of their marriage, and it was a holy thing. Everybody will be adorning and nobody will be having a mind to part with it. But Nayanar's wife came to that extent also of parting with the Mangalyam itself, because when our children are starving, we cannot see them starving before our eyes. So she thought some or other we should not see the tradition and all. And she parted with the Mangalyam and gave it to Nayanar to sell it to procure rice and other commodities. What should have done Nayanar? What should you have done? He went to the bazaar. His mind was with Kungiliyam. He went in a mechanical way. He was thinking of Kungiliyam, but he was ready to sell the Mangalyam to somebody. At that time, a fellow was driving a cart and was crossing. He was carrying a very big carton. He asked, what is in the carton? What are you taking? Because he scented, our Nayanar scented that. Only that man immediately told him, this is Kungiliyam. Oh, Kungiliyam. Oh, what to say? I have been thinking only about Kungiliyam. And I have been praying, Lord, He has listened to me, my prayers. I was wondering what I am going to do this night for my Lord without Kungiliyam. So how can I perform my duty without failure and break this night? If I broke my duty, I will not live. I will even die. So he told him whether he will sell the Kungiliyam to him. That man told, only I am taking this carton only for selling. But you look very poor. How can you afford to buy this? But Nayanar told him, I am having a jewel, Mangalyam. You just have a look at it. It is worth the Kungiliyam. Can you take this Mangalyam and give me the Kungiliyam? He asked. That fellow got the jewel. He just checked it. and inspected it, and he found that it was worth. So he immediately handed over the carton to the Nayanar. Nayanar lifted the carton and he was holding on his back and he was heading towards the temple. He went into the temple, went into the store, and he put the carton over there and was waiting by that side because it was nearing evening. He left the house in the forenoon. All the afternoon has gone in the transaction. He was proceeding to the temple and he was depositing the carton in the temple and was waiting by that side, waiting for the puja, Sayaraksha puja, so that he can offer Kungiliya. He was waiting there, and about 2 to 3 hours waiting time was there. So Nayanar waited by the side of carton. He was waiting there. You just think of it. What will happen to the starving children? They have been waiting for him in the house. Nayanar didn't turn up. His wife was bewildering. What happened to him? I gave him the ornament. I gave him the mangalyam. It would have been very easy to sell the mangalyam. Gold is very easily transactionable. He would have sold it and got the money. But why didn't he turn up? She was wondering. The children and the old people in the house, they were also restless. Everybody was tired and everybody went to sleep. She also, out of tiredness, went to sleep. This is where Lord Shiva played the role. He thought, this man, without even thinking of procuring food for his kith and kin, he bought the Kungiliyam only because he didn't want to break his duty of offering Kungiliyam to me. So I should take care of him, he decided. He immediately filled the house with all sorts of wealth, grocery and everything. The whole house was turned upside down, and because of his compassion, the whole house was filled up with cloths, groceries, ornaments, wealth, everything. Sometime after that, she woke up and found she was not able to believe that what has happened here. I find everything here. The rice is here, dal is here, ghee is here, everything is here. So it must have been given by Lord Shiva. Not my small mangalyam would have provided all these things, because I am having so much of vessels and other ornaments also. So only because of the devotion of my husband, these things have been awarded by Lord Shiva, she thought. She immediately started cooking because everybody was starving, everybody was very hungry, and she started cooking. And at the same time, here in the temple, Nayanar was asleep. He was driven to sleep, as a matter of fact. He cannot sleep, but in Periya Puranam, if you see, the Nayanars will go to sleep, but they will never go to sleep, they will be driven to sleep. For example, Sundaramurti Swamigal, he would be visiting Tirupugalur. He was demanding some money from Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva didn't give any sign of offering it. So with hesitation, Sundaramurti Swamigal came out, and he didn't want to leave the temple unless otherwise he was given some firm answer by Lord Shiva. So he decided to wait there in the temple mandapam, and when he was waiting there, he felt sleepy. And Devachekadar says that it is not because of the sleepiness he went to sleep, it was only driving by Lord Shiva him to sleep. So he took some brick bats and he was putting them for his head, and he was like a pillow, and he was taking his sleep. So that is the thing we saw in the history of our Sundaramurti Swami. Likewise, Nayanar, they will go to sleep not because they wanted to sleep, because here he had achieved of acquiring Kungiliyam for the temple. His worry has been removed. His worry was how to offer Kungiliyam this night for Lord Shiva in Tirukadavur. Now the carton will come for some weeks together. So that problem has been overcome. So with that happiness, Nayanar was there. So he was not supposed to get any sleep. But at that time he was driven to sleep by Lord Shiva. In the sleep, Lord Shiva appeared before him. Oh my son, you go to your house. You are very hungry. Lord Shiva tells him, you are very hungry. The food is ready for you at the house. Why don't you take the food in the house and come back? Go over to house. That was the version uttered by Lord Shiva in the dream. Immediately he came out of the sleep, and he thought for a while. Lord Shiva told me that food is ready in the house. How can it be? He only realized now that my wife gave me the ornament and I sold it for a Kungiliya. She didn't have any money and she didn't have any groceries and other things. How she would be able to cook? So it may not be possible. But how can I go home and have food? How can I face my wife and other people? But the next moment he thought, but Lord Shiva has given me the instruction. He told me to go to the house. So if it is the instruction, I have to follow it. What is there to decide on my part? I have to loyally obey the instruction given by Lord Shiva. So he put the carton safely on one side and he started heading towards his home. As Lord Shiva told, he started feeling hungry also. Till that time he didn't feel hungry at all. When he was buying Kungiliyam, when he was storing it in the temple, he didn't feel any hunger. But once when Lord Shiva appeared in the dream and told him that you are very hungry, he started feeling hungry. So he started towards the house, he headed towards the house, neared it, and when he reached, he was not able to believe his eyes. He was taken aback. Will it be our house or have we entered into some other house wrongly? But at the time, his wife came out and welcomed him. Please come to hall, come to our house. It has been enriched by Lord Shiva. Come to our the holy house enriched by Lord Shiva. It is all because of your devotion for him. The wife was telling so many things, but he was not able to grasp all those things. She was telling him, only because of you, God has given all this wealth to us. And Nayanar was able to understand, oh, that is why he appeared in my dream and told me to go to house. His mercy is to be wondered of. It cannot be measured. It is immeasurable, immeasurable. And both husband and wife, they were very joyous about Lord Shiva's grace. And from that time onwards, Nayanar was able to cater to the needs of all devotees. He would be inviting devotees to his house. He would be feeding them with gorgeous food, and he would be catering to their personal needs also. He was using all the wealth to cater to the needs of Adiyas. So, his devotion has taken the diversification also. Till this day, he was rendering service to the temple. From that day onwards, he was rendering service to the devotees also. And he used to offer Kungiliyam for the temple without any break from that time onwards. So the life was being led very happily without any problem, peacefully. At that time, Thirupanandal, a town near Tirukadavur, now there is a madam, Thirupanandal madam, a special madam. Over there was a temple. There was a temple, a famous Shiva temple. The speciality about the temple is the lingam will not, the lingam at the Karuvarai, the Moolavar, let us say it is Moolavar. It will not be straight, it will be leaning towards one side, just be slanting, just slanting one side. The Chola king, whenever he visits, he will be feeling it very painful. Why this Shivalingam has been leaning towards one side? As if Lord Shiva will be feeling painful, he felt. I should put him straight. I should offer him the pujas after making him straight. I will do all the efforts, I will take all the efforts to make the Shivalingam erect. So, being very anxious to see the Shivalingam straightened, he used all the forces in his army. Elephants were brought down there. First, one elephant, a rope was tied to the Shivalingam, and it was tied to the elephant on the other end, and the elephant was asked to move away so that the Shivalingam may get straightened. But it didn't happen. It didn't move at all. Chola king got very anxious. How it could have happened? It is very, very firm against even a force of an elephant. Then he instructed the army to use more elephants. Nothing happened. They used horses, everything they used possible forces, but nothing turned the Shivalingam in a straight position. So Chola king was feeling painful, and he was asking all the Shivacharyas, why this thing, why don't we do something about this? He was inquiring Shivacharyas. Shivacharyas, they were not able to answer properly. They say that from the day onwards, from the day of our puja, we see the Shivalingam only like this. It is of very ancient type. It cannot be straightened. Let us not take the steps to straighten it. They were advising the Chola king, but Chola king, he didn't hear to them. No. It must have been in the straight position only. Only due to some reasons, the slanting position would have been achieved. So, somehow or other, we have to put it in straight form. I do not know what I am going to do, but I want it the straight position. Chola king made up his mind. In Tirukadavur, our Kungiliya Kalaya Nayanar heard about these things. he heard that the Sivalingam in Tirupanandal was slanting towards one side. It was leaning to one side, and there was a Puranam for that also. But still, the Sivalingam should be in straight position to perform the pujas for the Sivalingam, for even garlanding and other things, to put a frame on the rear side. All these things pose difficulty because of its slanting position. So it could have been brought to the original state. How can it be done? The Chola king was bewildering. He came to know. Immediately he made up his mind to visit Tirupanandal. He told his wife. His wife told him, well and good, you go over there. But what can we do about it? You see, think of a king. He might have used all his forces for this. When all his forces are effortless, how can you expect that anything can be done on our side? She was asking. Immediately Nayanar responded, what you are saying is correct. I am going to the temple not under the impression that I can straighten up the Sivalingam. When everybody has taken so much of efforts and failed, do you think I have the idea of having the power of straightening it with me? No, I will never think like that. All my power is only given by Lord Shiva. If at all I am having any power, it is given only by him. Nothing is indigenous. Everything is given by him. The soul is powerless. It cannot move even a small thing from here to there. It cannot move. But how can it move a whole body? How can it move a whole body? How can the air be sucked through the nostrils and can be thrown back? How can it do? How can it make the heart beat with so much of power? From the day of birth till the last day, it is going on pumping blood. It is going on pumping blood. How can it do that work without break? Who can give the power? If the soul has the might, if the soul has the power to feed the power to the body or to the heart or to the lungs, then even after death it should have been able to give the power. Is it not? Soul was not able to operate the body at one point of time. Even when you are sick, the soul loses all its power to operate the senses or to operate the body. It is slowly losing its power. It is because the power has been given only by Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva within the soul feeds all power, and in turn, using the power, the soul operates the body. People claim that soul operates the body. It is not correct. You should not think like that. The soul is powerless. It doesn't have any power at all. If you just see in highways, you will see some in the reflectors fixed on the walls, on the side walls, parapet walls, reflectors. The reflectors, if you throw light on it, it will be glowing. The reflectors will not have the natural property of glowing. It doesn't have the property of glowing. When you throw light on it, it will receive the power and will glow. That's all. The soul is also like that. It will receive the power from the Almighty and it will glow. That's all. When the light stops, the reflector also stops glowing. So this point we must understand. So Nayanar convinced wife and told her, I am there, I am going to be visiting Tirupanandal, not because I am going to straighten the Sivalingam there. I am just going to participate in the efforts being offered to straighten the Sivalingam. It is customary, it is necessary that we should contribute our own participation to every good act and good deed. Not that we would be able to complete the deed fully, we must be a part of it. So, when we think that we are part of the service, we get the self-satisfaction that we have done our service. So, people are taking so much of efforts to straighten the Sivalingam, to make him up straight. When people are taking so much of efforts, we should not be a spectator. We should go over there. We should also take our participation. We should exhibit our efforts. Whether the efforts are fruitful or futile, let it be with the Lord Shiva. But we should not be idle, or we should not restrain ourselves, or we should not refrain ourselves from executing some efforts. So he convinced his wife and he headed towards Tirupanandal. He came over to Tirupanandal. He went into the temple. There were lot of elephants, horses, army, people with so much of things, planning so much of things. See, at the same time, when they are executing the deeds, they have to be very careful that sanctity should be maintained. That also is very important. So, Shivacharyas were there, and the pujas cannot be stopped. All the pujas should have been performed at the right time, in the right sense, the right way. So, all these things are happening. So, in the meantime, in the time when Shivacharyas allow them, they start taking the efforts to straighten the Sivalingam. The Kalayanar went over there. He was seeing all these things, and he approached the army captain. Army captain asked him, what can I do for you? Kalayanar told him, you have been taking so much efforts to straighten. It is the wish of our king, of course. But I also want to share my efforts. I also want to share. I also want to participate in your action. You just please allow me. The captain laughed over him and told him, you can give your efforts, but did you know that what type of efforts have already been taken? We have used the elephants. We have used horses, fast running horses. We have taken so much of force, but the Sivalingam didn't turn at all. It didn't move at all. We were not able to move the Sivalingam even a small level. But how can you do this? You seem to be very bony, thin, and you don't seem to be a mighty wrestler. You are a very thin man. What can you do? He was asking. Nayanar told, I am just asking you the permission. Let me do my part of effort. I have come here not to straighten the Sivalingam, which you have not done. I have not come here for that. I have come here to participate in the efforts. So, I will try my level best so that I can convince myself Lot of efforts have been taken by the Chola kingdom to straighten up the Sivalingam. Public has also participated. I have also taken my share of participation. So that much of satisfaction I want to have. That is why I am seeking your permission. What are you going to do? Tell me, what are you going to do? And Nayanar explained, I will do one thing. You just give me thick rope. Okay, we will be able to give you the rope. What are you going to do with the rope? I will tie the rope one around the bottom of Sivalingam. The bottom of Sivalingam should be dressed properly. So over the dressing, I will tie up the rope. The other end of the rope, the long rope, other end of the rope, I will tie it to my neck and I will just try to pull it in the opposite direction. So my effort is to pull the Sivalingam with the fullest effort to make it straight. The army captain started laughing. Oh, you are a nice devotee, but I think you have not understood the volume of problem. See, I told you that so many horses tried that, so many elephants tried the same trick. We were tying the rope and we were tying it to the elephant. Not one or two, many elephants tried to make it straight, but in vain. But how can you, with a rope and tying it to your neck, and I just warn you, it's very dangerous. What will happen to your neck if you just exercise so much of power on your neck? It may be fatal also. You must be very careful. I do not know whether I can allow you to do this, he was saying. But Nayanar was able to convince him. He was telling him, you just give me the chance. I will go over there and do it. For heaven's sake, I will do my level best. See, the Sivalingam will come straight up, not because of my effort. I depend not on my effort, but on the grace of Lord Shiva. He is very kind. He will never allow anybody to be feeling pain. When somebody feels the pain, he would be the first person to come over and heal the pain. So, he will express, he will come over, he will do the needful. We have to express our desire, that's all. We have to do the effort, that's all. So, please allow me to pull the rope. I am depending not on my strength, but on the grace of Lord Shiva. It will never fail. My effort may fail, but not Lord Shiva's grace. It will never fail. It will never give up my efforts. Please give me the permission. He was asking because of the argument, when all others also supported Kalayanar. So there is no other go. Captain gave him the rope and he allowed Kalayanar to pull the Sivalingam in the opposite direction. Kalayanar took the rope and went to Sivalingam, worshipped him and offered prayer before him, Lord Shiva. And he was tying up the rope. The army captain was also helping him to tie the rope around the bottom. And he also helped to tie the rope over his neck. And Nayanar went to the other end and he was slowly pulling the rope. First he started pulling the rope with his hands. Started pulling the rope, nothing happened. He was using his full force of pulling the rope, nothing happened. Slowly what he did was, he was leaving his hands and he was trying to pull the rope with his neck. So using his neck, he was pulling the rope with full force and again he used his hands and neck both to pull the rope in full swing. At that time, Lord Shiva felt the pain of Kalayanar. Oh, my son is feeling painful. How can I reach this pose when he feels painful? Let me come straight. Immediately the Sivalingam straightened up and came into the erection in the straight position. Everybody was joyous. Everybody clapped their hands. And the celestials were showering flowers on Kalayanar. On hearing the information, the captain ran over and told the king what has happened. On hearing the good news, the Chola king rushed to the spot and he fell on the feet of Kalayanar. Oh, what a great deed you have done. What a great effort you have executed. Kalayanar corrected him. Not even a single effort made this. Oh my king, kindly mindful that it is only because of his grace he got straightened up. He made him straight by himself, not by our efforts. I depend only on his grace. Every time when I do something, I depend on his grace. I am doing this. I depend on his grace. I never doubt his grace. I am never doubtful about his immense grace and kindness. So that never failed. This time also it never failed, and he straightened up. It is only because of your efforts these things project has been started and ended up in a good way. Kalayanar was saying, Kalayanar was taken by the king as the king's chief guest. He spent some days in the kingdom, and then he went back to Tirukadavur. There he continued his service of offering Kungiliyam to Lord Shiva, and he was also catering to the needs of Adiyas in whoever come to Tirukadavur for worshipping Amritagadeswarar, and he was leading very pious and peaceful life. And one day he reached the abode of the Lord Shiva when his time came back. So this is the very beautiful story of our Kungiliya Kalaya Nayanar, who didn't break his service because of his poverty. Poverty can never fear or make afraid of the devotees. They will execute their duties in whatever situation they are. They will make up their mind to do their service without break. Your service is one which is done without break. So we are very much wondering the way in which he executed the service and the way in which God also awarded him. And in this way we are just completing the story of Kungiliya Kalaya Nayanar. By this way I am also going to utter 5-lettered mantra 5 times. I am requesting everybody to follow me. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Tiruchitrambalam. I request all of you to subscribe to Jnanathiral, and also you can visit our website. Website is there, Facebook is also there. There are updated news. You can just visit them. You can just buy books released by Jnanathiral. In that way you encourage Jnanathiral. With this we are concluding this session. We will meet only in another session of this time. Now I am concluding this with your wish and slogan. தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி, எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி, வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு அரோகரா. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். God bless you. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம்.